We're going to talk about the school to prison pipeline. And I'm going to let Queen Z actually explain just the surface of it and what it pertains to, because I know a lot of people, especially parents, they're not familiar with it.
Right. So basically, school to prison pipeline is basically they funnel students out of public schools into the juvenile justice system. So basically right now, you know, especially now that school has just started, you get all those papers, and a lot of times parents aren't reading what those papers are saying. Right now they're doing like a zero tolerance regulation. So what that means is like, it could be simple things like maybe you supposed to took your tray up, you know, in the cafeteria, you didn't do that. There's a strike. So it's like so many strikes, and it's zero tolerance with these strikes. So it's like immediately suspension, expulsions. A lot of people are having these elevated drop-off rates, these dropout rates. They're targeting mostly, and it's sad, the Black race. So what's happening is if your school is predominantly Black, if it's at least 50% or more Black, then your school is set up to have a police officer there.
Oh, Zia, don't go too far. Don't go too far. Don't get too deep. All right. We just want to give y'all a backdrop. So T's actually going to play a video to give the audience an idea, and then we can get the statistics and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
All right. Hold on 1 second.
And in the meantime, everybody, can y'all go under either our Sunday wind down page and just start tagging people and let them know, like, you know, go to my page, go to T page, go Z, because we shared the link. Just tag them and let them know, like, this is where we're at. While T get the video. We appreciate y'all. I know Stacy probably looking for us. Stacy, Spig. I'm gonna add a couple people. They probably
just let them know they click the link, the YouTube link.
Right. I'm trying to think of some people.
All right, Judge.
You ready?
Placed in handcuffs for crying at school. Well, this was a reality for a 7-year-old Black boy in Missouri, and it isn't rare for a Black and brown kid for talking back or doing that on the desk. In-school policing is harming students by taking them out of school and helping funnel them into prisons. It's called the school to prison pipeline. We're talking about a structure of codes and punishments that criminalizes kids as early as preschool and increases their chances of ending up in the criminal justice system. 99% of New York City school children who were handcuffed in 2016 were Black or Latinx. This happens when school resource officers are called into classrooms to discipline students, sometimes for something as small as violating a dress code or grabbing candy from a teacher's desk. If the offense doesn't lead to an arrest, Black and brown students are still subject to harsher punishments than white students. Black students are 4 times more likely to be suspended than their white peers. Sometimes students are kicked out of school for basically just being Black. Like in cases across the country where Black girls were suspended for rocking braids or an afro. So where do students go after they've been kicked out of school? Research shows they're 3 times more likely to end up in the juvenile justice system within a year. This is all part of an endless cycle. Once kids touch the juvenile justice system, they're 67% more likely to end up in jail again before they're 25. So what lessons are schools and police really teaching our kids here? How can kids excel in school if they're always being kicked out of them?
All right, Judge, who's that?
All right, bet. So, I mean, come on, it was a segment in there, and I really took offense to this, me personally, where they talk about, you know, they're attacking our queens because they're rocking braids or afros. So not only are you you're desensitizing our culture and defaming us and robbing us of who we really are. You know, you're attacking the very people that made you. So go ahead, it's ears on you. I just wanted to say that.
No, yeah, you're right. It's so, I mean, like, especially now, like, I was just, like, when I was looking things up today, I was seeing things like right where I live in Florida, like in Sanford and Orlando, like cases that 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds being arrested for like petty things in school. So I do got some numbers written down. So like, and from 2013 to 2017, there are 30,000 school arrests under the age of 10. And keep in mind that majority of these arrests are Black children.
How many? How many was that?
30,000 under the age 10. School arrests.
That's crazy.
In this is all in United States. In 2018, there was 718,962 under the age of 18 arrested. 3,500 under 10, under the age 10, more than 38,000 ages 10 to 12, and then more than 355,000 ages 13 to 16.
So, all right. So, since you've been doing a little research, what do you think is do you actually see a direct link subconsciously from school?
I do.
You can actually see. So you think we're being molded to go from the school system to the prison?
This was one of the reasons I pulled my children out of school, because I saw things happening that was giving me jail, prison. And I was just like, and I didn't even, this was before I even knew about a school to prison pipeline. I was just noticing, like, the lunchroom, how they conduct things, like that, got signs of no talking and things like that, or, if you don't pick up your tray and all, like, that's a punishment. The new thing they have a lot of places is, if you want to go to your school to see your child, you have to set up an appointment. Like, you can't just go and see your child. You have to call the teacher. I'm like, she's like, what type of stuff is going on in these schools? And then it's like, to walk down the hall, you're walking down the hall in a single file line, one behind another. That's straight jail, prison moves. And then they have, like I said, there's a lot of the Black schools, they have the police officers there,
Right.
So they're already ready. They said it started from the Columbine shootings, but it went further than that, because it was already ordained through the FBI system to target the Black schools that are predominantly Black, to bring the officers in there to arrest for, like I said, petty crimes. It's not even crimes. It's just, if your child is too agitated, like one thing I was reading and said, a child could have came to school, they might not had dinner the night before, so they're already agitated, whatever, and then they might step out. Now they're already having a bad day from the night before, and instead of you having a decent conversation, going to the guidance counselor who's supposed to counsel you, it's guidance counseling, like, as far as prison goes. So they're not helping the children. So now you got in trouble. Now, next thing you know, you're in the principal's office, and now they're talking about what? Suspending you or expulsion, but not helping the children. So now you got these same children that are being suspended and having expulsion, to the point now they do what? They drop out. So now what's next? What's waiting for them? The streets. And so where that's going to lead them to? The juvenile system. And that's this is the way they're getting their money right now. And they're targeting our children, our like lady said, Black and brown, because it's not just the Blacks, it's the Hispanics too. We all are the majority, as they consider us the minority, but because we are the higher, numbers in the race, we are the ones that are being targeted. Like I've seen Black students suspended and expelled 3 times more than white students. That should be raising eyebrows.
That's American kids for anything.
Yeah, man, that's crazy and it's sad. And you figure back in the day, like you said, they don't even get to the root of what's wrong anymore. They just spend them, and especially at that rate. So just think about this. In Virginia, I don't know how Philly is, but in Virginia, well, I do know how Philly is. I don't know how it is now. But if you miss 10 days, it's an automatic failure.
See?
No, I don't think it's a failure anymore. I think it's more like a suspension.
No,
that's the problem and that's the problem I always had. Like, if you continue to suspend the child from school, then how are they going to learn anything? Right. Like, there has to be other ways of handling the situation than the first suspension because he was talking too much.
Right.
Like I said, little petty things. Mm-hmm. It's very disturbing.
Wow, that number is high, and the crazy thing, when I did the research as well, it was saying that once a child falls into that, then it's unlikely that they ever come up out of that.
Exactly, and that's the plan for it. That's why it's called the school to prison pipeline, because it's set up for the child to fail. It's set up for them to go from school, because already teaching them the authority. Like, this is what you need to do, blah, 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 and so it's like, if you step out of line, you will be, because like I said, they have a zero tolerance thing now. So if you step out of line, the first thing you do, we're calling your mom.
Okay, Zia, let me ask you this then. Now, we also have to say, some of these kids are totally out of pocket. Like, what do we do to make sure that is a common standard for everyone, though? You know what I mean? Because it's not you talk to some kids a certain way, and they're totally disrespectful and going crazy. Like, so what do you have as a solution to that?
I think the guidance counselors really need to do their job and give guidance to these children, because a lot of children that act out, they usually are acting out for attention because it's something that they're lacking from home. And we need to get to the bottom line and find out what's going on with these children, instead of just like I said, suspending them and everything like that. There's something else that's happening. Nobody's talking to the children. Nobody's finding out what's going on, because a lot of these children act out. There's something going on at home.
Right.
So I feel like personally, the guidance needs to do your job. Be a counselor.
Right. That's true.
Take notes. You see something suspicious, instead of turn the other cheek or turn the other eye, somebody needs to be called.
So it's bigger than setting up classes. Being a guidance counselor now is just setting up curriculum and setting up.
Right.
You actually do your job.
It's not the guidance counselors we had back in the day. I could definitely say that.
Man. I wish. Janine says, I mentioned before that I used to work for the school district for over 10 years. What Queen Z is saying is all true. I've seen it firsthand, and I worked in West Philly at a school. I worked in West Philly at a school known for kids with behavior problems. I seen them arrested. Police were called to the school almost every day, and we had a school police officer on duty every day.
The school, when I was in Richmond,
you said 10-year-olds were cuffed.
Middle son Christian.
Sorry.
Yeah, my middle son Christian, they had officers there because he went to a school for, like they say, bad children, but he is special needs, and he has, I probably spoke hydrocephalus, so he has a brain injury that he has the tube in his head that sucks the brain fluids out, and the stomach, and he urinates it or whatever. But one of his issues, he's slight autistic, so they would grab him when he would have an outburst, and he also at that time was having epilepsy issues. So if anybody knows anything about people who have epilepsy, after having a how you say
episode,
a seizure, episode, basically they kind of go irate. It's like it's something with the brain waves. So Christian would have a lot of episodes, and they would grab him, and they would have him in restraint. So I had to do my research, because I had to do a lot of research coming from a child having special needs with the special education, because that's another thing to talk about. But I had to write a no restraint or letter, and parents that's listening, you can do that. You can write a no restraint letter order and go to the school and submit that to them for them to not put their hands on your child. And that's what I did.
That's information that they don't tell us about. I've never heard of.
You can do that. Yes. I do my studying.
Wow.
and I had to, because they would have him, when I would come sometimes, they would have him in any style locked. And I was just like, what is this? And I was like, there has to be something I can do about this, because this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right. And come to find out, there is a letter that you can write to no restraint order for your child.
Let me ask you this. With that, how would the officer on duty would know that? You know what I mean?
Well, now this would be the problem if they didn't tell the officer, like, this child has a no restraint order, because then that would be something else. Then that's lawsuits and all that, But
that's why
after I did that worked. After I did that worked. And then it was just like, come get them, But
let's get some input from our audience, from my family, our cyber community. What do y'all think? Is the school system unknowingly or knowingly setting our kids up for failure? What do y'all think?
Yeah.
What do y'all think? Is public school different from private school? Do white children get treated differently than African Americans and Latinos, or Africans and Latinos, whatever? What do you think? Are we already prejudged with a conceived notion that, I just want to get them out of here? What do y'all think? Because what I do know is not many, like, the black aren't the ones coming shooting the schools up, burning it down, and coming on that. First of all, we know our mama come out of that school, there's gonna be some hell to be paid.
Right.
Get that ass beat.
Yeah, in front of everybody.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So
I want to know what they feel about that zero tolerance. Like, I want to know, are the parents, especially school has just started, and I know a lot of you parents, you just got off work, your child is coming home with a whole bunch of paper, you just want to sign. I need y'all to read what y'all signing, though, because just the same way as the students have that contract that they have to live under, the teachers have a contract too that they have to abide by. And there's one that you can draw up for the teachers to sign as well.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna be winding down. We're just looking for a little bit more feedback. We're gonna be moving on to our next segment. But I will say this: just to fathom this is really disheartening. You know what I mean? And our kids don't even really have a fighting chance. God forbid if one of their parents is on drugs, or if they're dealing with some situations where it's just any type of offset in the house. They don't even have the opportunity to be kids. They're getting handcuffed at 8, 9, 10 years old. Come on, what happened to just writing on the board 100 times? What happened to staying after school? That's a really unfortunate situation.
It's even, and it's even worse with the school to prison pipeline. Like some schools that, some neighborhoods, some urban place that people live at, that these children, before they can even get into class, they have to go through metal detectors and stuff. Like,
true, absolutely.
Why are we doing that?
Oh yeah, we had to do that when I was.
That doesn't sound like prison. I don't know what that is. If to schedule an appointment to see your child, That's like scheduling an appointment to go see if you had a child in prison for real. It's the same thing.
That's crazy.
Yep, that's a fact. So, T, anything from the audience? I'm about to share the actual YouTube like Cole did on my page.
Yeah, I seen Zach saying that they have zero tolerance in the military, but that should only be for adults. That shouldn't be for kids. Kids should have room to fail. Right.
They're children.
All right, so if nobody got anything else, thank you, Queen Z, for enlightening us, and thank you, T, for sharing that video. If you didn't know, this is one of the reasons why our children are behind the 8 ball, and this is one of the reasons why we need to hold them even more accountable, and even love them even harder emotionally as well.
Right.
You know, they grown up differently, way more differently than we did, the way that we did. So, our methods, the way our parents raised us may not work 100% to a T, but the accountability has to. We have to love them and guide them and show them by example just a little bit more than everybody else of other cultures.
Right, I agree with that.